Oh, listen very carefully. I shall say this only once. That was the French one, wasn't it? In hello, I lose track. Hello, hello. Where are we somewhere today? Somewhere French. Chauvin to the Arnoux. Chevon Oignon.
Sorry.
Doesn't take much, does it? It's Sunday. It's Sunday. It's like 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
Jesus Christ.
I know, yeah. What are we doing on a Sunday morning in the C&A studio, such as it is?
Hard-working people like us.
Hard-working. Is working the right word? Something beginning with W anyway. But we are going to do some work here today because we've been tasked by the good folk at C&A to build a test rig. Now, I know we've done test rig videos before, at least a couple of them. But this is a different one. We're putting in a 3-phase test rig here, and that's so that...
3-phase Luden.
Well, yeah, we are going to use a Luden board. There's a reason for that, which we'll come to shortly. There's a lot of fingerprints and stuff around here. We probably shouldn't look too close. Don't look too close at the fingerprints and the paint flecks that are missing and that sort of stuff. They've tasked us with building a 3-phase board so that they can put some of their equipment through its paces in a sort of faux real world situation, which ought to be interesting. So that's nice. So yes, we've taken over this space. We're hitting them on a Sunday because we want to get our noise and mess and stuff out of the way when the warehouse and office staff aren't trying to work. And also if we blow something up, we can run away and feign ignorance. As Linda says, we're putting in a Luden board, and I'll mention why later. There is a specific reason why I've gone for that one. We're also putting in a 3-phase service head because we want it to look like a proper real-world installation. And various of the bits and bobs we'll have, like we've done on previous test rigs, we'll have a ring circuit, a radial circuit, a lighting circuit with 3-way switching, shaver socket as well. That wasn't part of any previous test rig, but it'd be nice to have something that we can demonstrate salve on, not salve, I'll put the word on the screen, I can't remember what it is. But nice to have something that's electrical separation, something that uses electrical separation as its safety factor. And so yeah, it ought to be an interesting day. We're hoping to have this done today so that at the end of the day, it's all on the wall and ready. And then tomorrow, I'm going to be testing it out. But the testing out, when it eventually happens, won't appear here. It'll appear on C&A's channel. So go there. Linda's down on the floor where she belongs. We've just laid out the basic layout, so we know what we're doing. Do we know what we're doing, Linda? Debatable. That's kind of the footprint that it's going to be on the wall. So yes, 3-phase service head into a 3-phase meter, into an isolator, into the board. We're going to have surge protection separately. Again, not necessarily set up as an ideal installation. This will be set up in such a way that there are potentially some flaws, some issues, some non-compliances, not many, but some
challenges.
Some things that, yeah, that we'll want to be in place so that when we come to demonstrate equipment on it, or whoever comes to demonstrate equipment on it, can do so accordingly. So we are going to build a couple of faults into it. We're going to do a couple of things that you wouldn't ordinarily do if this were a proper client installation. For example, we'll be putting in ring wiring, a ring circuit, but we'll be doing that via conduit singles, and we'll be going with a 1.5 for the CPC. If you were wiring conduit singles normally, you'd keep them all the same, but we want to have that 2.5, 1.5 split so that when we come to do testing later on, we can show the mathematics of what you're likely to see out on site if you were pissing around with twin and earth. Anyway, we've got some mechanics to do in a minute to drill some holes. Oh, Linda's just kicked it already. Bloody hell. So we'll have a lighting circuit at the top there with 3 switches, including an intermediate. We'll have a 3-phase socket, isolated socket, which is something that we've not incorporated into a test rig before because we've not built a 3-phase test rig before. So that will give us the ability to show something like phase rotation. Ooh, hey? Ooh.
Right.
Phase rotation. A couple of sockets on a ring, 1 socket on a radial that's going to have USB built in so that you've got that permanently connected load, which sometimes is so fun on site when you're trying to do insulation resistance testing. We'll stick our shaver socket in that deep patras there so that we can show our electrically separated circuit if we ever want to play with that. I think I bought a breaker for that. I might be short of a breaker. But yeah, otherwise, you know, it's going to take a fair old space on the wall over there. But if we were just to get on with it and not keep talking about it.
Stop fanning around.
Fanning around, yes. Good word. And of course, these boxes here, normally we have one box that's in previous test rigs. We've contained the wiring in because we're going to have some loops of wiring to simulate some length, some resistance, again for testing for mathematics, arithmetic. She always corrects me on saying mathematics. Arithmetic. I can't do it. Can't do it. She's hurt her hip. Just fucking hell, my hip. My fucking hip. So yeah. She's not going to be much use today. I say. Where was I before your fucking hip came into it? Boxes, yes, boxes. So yes, we're going to have our cables in boxes. We could put the boxes around the back so you wouldn't see them, but again, I think it's better to be around the front. I know I've had in cause when yapping to camera before to open up my box and let the contents spool out or whatever. So we're also going to put a couple of switches on these boxes to allow us to switch in a couple of faults, which we'll explain as we go along. Far too much talking. Let's start drilling. Hard work this lark, isn't it, for a Sunday?
Yep.
Good job there's a McDonald's kind of almost next door.
We've just driven there.
We just drove there, we were very lazy, yeah. And it's like a 2-minute walk or something. But it is kind of raining where it was. It seems to have stopped now.
Spitting.
But, you know, the mechanics are coming along. It's bloody slave drivers. If you take a look over there, you know, it's coming along. It's coming along. So, yeah, a quick coffee break and then back to it. Linda's bought me a present. Beautifully wrapped, I must say. Is this a Sainsbury's carrier bag?
Yes, it's the company colours.
Oh, well, you see, thought has got into this.
Everything has to be recycled, you see.
It's well twined. I might have to cut that because I'm making a right pig's ear of undoing it. So it better be worth all the unwrapping. So what prompted you to buy me a present?
I didn't buy it, and
okay.
you'll understand once you see it.
It's not something I'm supposed to stick up my arse, is it?
Nope.
Well, I could if I wanted to, potentially.
I didn't.
A chisel! How did you know?
It's from my dad's, but you know why I bought it? Do you remember that day that you gave me?
Yes, I do have my special chisel. This is actually a Nick Bundy chisel.
That one that's broken in half?
Yeah, it's kind of got no end to it, but for wanging out bits of brick.
I chased a whole fucking
back box
with that. And do you know how I saw my arm? My hammer you wrecked my hammer and my arm hasn't recovered. So I saw
maybe do some arm exercises. Have a word with your boyfriend. He'll suggest some for you. But yeah, no, that is something that I was genuinely missing from my toolbox. And only the other day, where was I? It was while I was with Skippy, the work experience lad, the other day. I was somewhere where, yes, I had to knock. I was trying to get some wood out. I need a sharp chisel. I haven't got one because obviously they all got nicked.
You know, I've inherited all my dad's crap.
Yes.
And he's got lots of.
Well, thank you, Linda's dad. I'm going to put DSES on there now just to make my mark on it. You ain't getting that back.
Right.
Oh, thank you for that.
That's all right.
I can go in my toolbox right now. What we're going to do now is we're going to put on our bullshit service head. I say bullshit because obviously it's not a real head. But we want it to look like a 3-phase arrangement. So this is the place to go apparently. Stephen P. Wales, Electrical Metering Specialists, which is where we've got this contraption from here. It's surprisingly expensive, these things. As you can see, the 3-phase head is made up of a single-phase line neutral block with the addition of 2 more fuses. These are the fuses, the fuse carriers. And then this plastic cover, it's hard to do this with one hand. Linda's supposed to be assisting, but she's still pissing about over there doing something useful.
Main earthing terminal.
I haven't put it in yet. Okay. So then, yes, so if you can hold that and keep it in focus, girl. Wait. So I was just saying that the head is made up of a single phase and neutral block, plus 2 of the fuses, all get stuck together case goes over it, and bingo bongo, you've got something that looks like a, well, it is a 3-phase service head. That'll be the main earth connection going in there you were just asking about. Obviously, the fuse carriers are rated at 100 amps, and I believe, have they got fuses in them? I'm pretty sure there was supplied with fuses. If not, we have got fuses here. If we open one of these up, I don't know how many of you have seen one of these before. I have shown a video before showing what's inside one of these. A long time ago.
Hello.
I haven't got the right screwdriver with me. There would be a fuse. Obviously this is a 100 amp fuse going in here. We're running the whole shebang off a 32 amp non-RCD protected 3-phase circuit. But we're going to put that in there obviously, because the idea of this, like I say, is it looks like something you would see on site in theorem. So we've still got to fit that. And then we've just got to bolt the lighting accessories up there, and then that's the mechanics done. We can actually start pulling some wires in then. Exciting times! Linda's excited, aren't you? You just want to get down the bar, don't you? Oh, that McDonald's is going straight through me. So these go on the wall individually. Notice that the neutral has a link bar that can be used to connect to the earth bar. I'm not going to do that here. On the portable training test rig video I did that. I got the supply, which is just a 2-core cable, line and neutral, and I linked the neutral to the earth. And the reason for doing that was so that you could plug the portable training test rig in somewhere on an RCD protected circuit, and you could do RCD tests on the test rig, and it shouldn't take out the upfront RCD. Here we're running off a breaker, so we're not on an upfront RCD, therefore I can keep the neutral and the earth separate, which is best to do really, because if you link them here, then there is the potential for the metalwork to go live. In the event of a fault, you've got to be very careful how you're using it. And here, somewhere where it's not under my direct supervision, we want to make sure that the earth stuff remains actually earthed. So I'm going to keep them separate, but we've got to make sure that we're not on an RCD supply up front here, which we're not. It's a 32 amp circuit, so right. Bingo e bongo.
You done?
Oh, impatience, girl. Looks like someone's hard at it. No, that's not me.
Are you on camera?
I am on camera. Hence. I was just going to show, the reason I went for a Loon board here, they have been kind of our go-to of late. But I wanted to demonstrate something, which is that 10 kiloamp Loon devices and 6 kiloamp Loon devices are not quite the same thing. And in this board, well, obviously it's a TPN board, so we're going to be using 10 kiloamp 3-phase devices, such as that one there, which is going to be feeding the 5-pin 32 amp socket. But I also wanted to use some 6 kiloamp devices, such as an AFDD. We're going to have an AFDD protecting the ring circuit. And I don't know how well you're going to see this, but if you try and marry a 6 kiloamp device with a 10 kiloamp device on a Luden board, they don't sit right. So what you need is a conversion kit. If you're like me, you've been caught out in the past with this, fitting a Luden board and going, oh, hang on a sec, my 6 kiloamp devices ain't going to sit right in this. So what I've done in here is the conversion kit is just the DIN rail bracket, and I've put a 6 kiloamp one on the left, and I've left the original 10 kiloamp one on the right, which means my 2 3-phase circuits are going to go on the right side of the board, and the left side of the board is going to feed a bunch of single-phase circuits. So that'll feed the sockets via an AFDD, it'll feed the radial socket via an RCBO, the lights via an RCBO, the shaver socket via an MCB, and we'll have a couple of spares. So that's just something to be aware of. I'm not sure if other brands have that. I imagine things like Hager, for example, it doesn't matter what device you buy, it's going to fit in the board. But it's just a curiosity of Luden. There may be other brands out there whose TPM boards are slightly different to their domestic and where conversion kits may be needed. But I wanted, again, this is a kind of a test rig. They're going to be using it both for demonstrating equipment and for things like training of staff and that sort of stuff. So we wanted to sort of show both worlds in here. And a conversion kit's needed in order to do that. It's very boring, sorry about that. You know, it's lovely and sunny outside now, and we're still stuck in here.
You don't have the right size cable clips.
Looks like we have a damsel in distress. Make way for a man. So this 10 meters is going to form the wiring for our ring. Why 10 meters? Why not? I'm sure we can gather 10 meters up into the box. The box! One of these boxes, which will give us some resistance to measure. We could use actual resistors, of course, but I fear that would be a little more expensive and impractical for our purposes. This is easy, and it also allows us to make changes later if we want, just by resizing the wiring that's there. So we'll get the ring wiring in first. Why not? I say first, we've already wired in the surge protector. Speaking of surge protection, let me get the on-site guide. I got caught out by this a few years ago where I did a video when the SPDs first started coming out around 2018. 18th edition started saying thou shalt install such for domestic properties. Nobody was doing so before then particularly. And I showed one going in where the wiring length wasn't quite right. What it says here is that the length of A, the wiring from the overcurrent protected device to the SPD, and the wiring of B from the SPD to the earth bar should not exceed, preferably not exceed 0.5 meters, but in no case exceed 1 meter. This is definitely going to exceed half a meter, going down from there and back up to the earth bar. It's going to be under 1 meter. It's probably about 90 centimeters, or 900 millimeters for you Nazis out there who hate it when I use centimeters. It's a scalable system, the metric system. I'm allowed to use centimeters. It's probably about 90 centimeters. So again, not necessarily ideal. Fine for the purposes of this. And as I say, this isn't necessarily supposed to represent an ideal setup. It is, after all, a test rig. And the only reason I want the SPD there is because when we start using it as a test rig, we want to play with insulation resistance and how an SPD affects the tests of that. Maybe, who knows? It's there for future proofing. But anyway, it is there. Let's get this 10 meters of shite pulled into here then. And she's off, terminating her ring. What do you think about rings, Linda? Are you a fan?
Not of your stinky ring.
Yes. I'm afraid
Spend far too many hours around it.
the McDonald's is going through me. Personally, I'm not a fan of the things myself. There's always going to be a bit Marmite. Some people say they're good, some people say they're not. Fact is, the rest of the world doesn't really use them, and you kind of look at it and think, well, what do they know that we don't? So I prefer more radial circuits if I were doing rewire. That's not to say I've never installed a ring. Of course I have. Sometimes you do, but new builds tend to have them by default, and I do think that's a bit, mind you, new builds are shite. They're still putting in dual RCD boards and 2.5mm armoured to external garages where people say, can you install a car charger for me? You go, not on that.
Are you still waffling?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Could you fuck off to McDonald's and get me another coffee? Linda's just dressed the ring onto the AFDD. So unlike previous test rigs, we're going to have an actual AFDD incorporated into this one. That's going to be driving our ring circuit.
Is it a Hager?
No, the accessories are Hager. We do like the Hager solicitor accessories. We will say something nice about Hager, like the accessories.
So this is not
Hager sockets and switches,
not
but
an AFDD.
no, for some reason we haven't used the Hager AFDD. I can't imagine why.
Right, moving on.
So yes, we've got a Luden AFDD in there. There's our 10 meters of wiring. That's all that's going to go in that box. So I'm going to put the lid on. This upper box is going to hold the wiring for our lighting and radial socket circuit. And like previous rigs, we're actually going to run the line wiring of those two circuits paired together, taped together, so that the electric field of one will permeate into the other. Again, it's not how you would do it in real life, but we want to be able to do that so that if Chauvin ever want to show off some kind of clamp meter that can read microamps, it'll give them the opportunity to do so. We like opportunities, don't we, Linda?
We love them.
Linda's now wiring in the shaver socket. The shaver socket, David, a shaver socket. What are you talking about, a shaver socket? I've actually stuck one on my own test rig back at base, which I haven't shown yet. The idea of that being that we can demonstrate electrical separation, as I said earlier in the video. So Linda's going to put the cables through there, and we're going to run that off a 16 amp MCB. Why 16 amp MCB? Because it was a bit of a last minute addition and a 16 amp was all I had on the van. Doesn't matter, does it? Doesn't matter. It's not really going to be doing anything. And there's no point putting it on an RCBO because the idea of that circuit is that its safety at the point of utilisation isn't provided by earthing, it's provided by electrical separation, which again is something we can look at. It also gives the ability to show 115 volts as well as 240. Where is have you got the shaver socket there?
Yeah, I have.
Ah, there we go. For those who haven't seen one before, big fuck off transformer on the back, no connection to earth. The live wants to get to the neutral, it does not want to get to earth, which is why they're safe to use in bathrooms. I must do a video about that. Marvellous. Oh, about time.
I want.
We got a few of these today, but you know.
Can you pass me those bent needle nose, please? Thank you very much.
Been knocking up some stickers using my Brother P-Touch. You can plug that into your laptop and make your custom labels. Like I've even done one with a, if I just get past Linda's ass there, even done one with a Chauvin logo on it. Oh. So it's a shame I only got orange. I'd prefer my warning labels to be in yellow, but I seem to be out of yellow tape, which is annoying. But yeah, handy software, that Brother P-Touch stuff, and you can create your own templates and make your own custom labels just using the editoire there. Did you make your appointment to have your back sack and crack waxed?
Yes.
Linda's just been making a personal phone call.
It's my 5-year bangiversary tomorrow.
Bangiversary. So the boyfriend's getting some, is he?
He's getting lucky for once. For the first time in Spain. I won't carry on. My lady garden.
Maybe not on camera. Moving on to our three-phase socket. I'm just getting the wires in for that. So I'm just going to talk about these things. We're installing a 5-pin socket, 5-pin 32 amperes. And the pinouts for that, well, you can see from the back, we've got L1, L2, L3, neutral, earth. These can be found in a 4-pin flavour, emitting the neutral. And you can also get, because I got caught out on this on site last week, we were at an engineering works, me and Skippy, the work experience lad, and they had a machine they'd bought which came with a 4-pin red plug, and obviously on the wall was a 5-pin socket. It was either way around. It was either way around, I beg your pardon. It had a 5-pin red plug because the machine needed a neutral, but the socket on the wall was a 4-pin red socket. So we fitted them a new 5-pin red socket, and then realised when we went to plug it in that the 4-pin red plug on the end of the machine was a 16 amp, and the 5-pin red socket on the wall that we just put in was a 32 amp, and although they're both red, they're slightly different sizes. I don't know why the world needs to be this confusing, I really don't. Why? There we go. I don't get to do a lot of commercial stuff. So that was interesting. Wasn't so interesting on the day because I was swearing very loudly. We had to go back to CEF and replace what we just put in. But this is a 5-pin 32 amp, and also I'll show you where we're plugging this whole shebang in. This will be plugged in here eventually. It's a bit loose, that, isn't it? And that's a 5-pin 32 amp on the end of our SY cable. It's got cobwebs in it already. How did that happen? That only went in yesterday. So yes, that's the what's going to be the feed to our board. If we ever get it finished, it's getting late in the day. What are you doing hiding in there?
Jesus Christ, David! You fucking stink!
I might have dropped something I ought not to have done there. I know, it's how can it fill such a big space? Yeah, I think that That lunch is liquefying. You just wait over there for a while.
You need to see a doctor. I need to see this.
Linda's just pulled one off. Actually, she's pulled two off. Two lengths of brown. You just pulled off a length of brown, didn't you, Linda? There's got to be a turd joke in there somewhere. Well, approximately 10 metres of 1.5, 10 metres of 2.5, and she's now sticking those together. Try and have it quite regularly because we want those to really be married together.
Surely that is married. I can see.
There's a little nick in that.
Nicks. Far to me, nicks, David.
Why are there nicks in it?
Fucking nicks everywhere.
Really? Oh,
Got the
shit.
glasses on.
That's just come off the reel.
Right, let's just get.
It doesn't really matter, I suppose.
Doesn't matter.
Because it's all going to be contained within that upper box up there. The reason why we're sticking them together, as I've done on previous test rigs, the 2.5 is going to form the radial socket. It's going to have a USB socket on it. The 1.5 is going to form the lighting circuit. And by running them together, when either one is energized, the electric field will permeate into the wire of the other. Don't worry about the nicks.
I am worried, but anyway, you say.
No, it doesn't matter, because it's all going to be in that box. And it's not going to affect anything. It might even give us some funky insulation resistance numbers if they're...
It was only there.
But make sure that tape is regular going down the wire. Linda's using a red tape. I don't know why.
More regular than this?
Probably, because I really want to keep these wires paired together.
Okay.
The closer they are, the better the electric field penetration will be.
Oh, really? Penetration.
Obsessed you are, obsessed. So yes, perhaps every 30 centimetres or so.
Fine.
We got various colours of tape here: red, black, grey, white. And what I said to Linda was use a neutral colour. Don't use something like blue or green yellow, because someone might take that as an indicator of what that conductor's doing, and all we want to do is to tape them together.
It's a serious fucking copy here, but anyway, I'm just keeping it.
God, she worries too much, doesn't she? Just get the fuck on with it, woman.
I am.
That's a big loop of brown. Oh, you've neatened it up from the mess that I left it in. Yeah, but you pulled a load of this back out again. I'll put that in deliberately.
No, David, I wanted to snip it off.
Okay, fine.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I mean, are you accepting? Or
And anything that saves me getting told off again.
It's not telling off, it's just expressing a preference.
You're like my work wife. Nige used to be my work wife. Now I've got a new work wife. Right, okay, why have we got the two browns in there? Because, as I said before, when one of those circuits is on, it's going to make a lovely electric field that permeates into the other with humorous effects, things like nuisance glow LED lighting and that sort of thing. Capacitive coupling, indeed it is, yes, quite right so. And there may be, Showman may have equipment that we can show that on, or they may not, I don't know what they've got on the shelves down there, but it's certainly something that's, it's nice to have, but not in a rig like this. So for what we'll do to maximise the electric field in this box is for both the radial socket and the radial lighting circuit, well, their neutral and CPCs will be run within this box. 415 volts or 400 volts? I don't know. I've gone with 415 because that's what Luden have got on their label there, but it might not be 415. I just like big fuck off warning labels. That's why I just left that hanging off, because we're going to be pulling more cables into that in a minute. So if we pull the neutrals and earths for those circuits into this box, because if we have them in this box, they'll dampen the electric field, and we want to maximise that electric field pollution.
10 of each. Same again?
Yeah, so we're going to pull 10 metres of blue now, 10 metres of green, yellow for each circuit. Wrap them up, shove them in there, get them into place. Let's get that done. God, I'm tired. Quite the busy bee is our Linda.
Like the what?
Busy bee.
What do you think? It's beautiful, don't you think?
It's a work of art with a capital F. That's great.
It's not all farts.
I may have let one slip, which Linda was very annoyed about.
I think you're on a final written warning.
Especially as her hands were full at the time and she couldn't drop what she was doing and was kind of trapped there. Not necessarily hugely neat inside, but it didn't really matter too much because we kind of thrown it in to get it finished. It's getting quite late in the day. And I'm going to be pulling it all apart again, of course, on Chauvin's channel to put this thing through its paces. We are going to do just a couple of things to check our commissioning on camera here today. One of which is phase rotation, because Linda would like to see phase rotation in action. Would you not?
Absolutely.
Meters on and reading a big fat 0. I'll never read much more than that meter. On.
You're supposed to let me do this.
Well, you can do those
That's
two.
fine.
No? Go on. Flick them on.
All of them.
Well, there's only 2 3-phase circuits.
One.
There's all those plasters all over her hands. So yes, the AFDD is powered.
Sorry if I'm getting away. It is a work of art, isn't it?
It's a work of something, yes. Careful where you're sticking your fingers, girl. Remember, it's live now. Shouldn't be touching single insulation.
I'm not Jordan.
I saw that.
I'm not Jordan.
My NIC inspector would be rolling in his grave if he were dead, which hopefully he's not.
Do you remember we found a way to finger this?
Yeah, I wouldn't go sticking your fingers in there if I. Better things to stick your fingers in, I'm sure. So let's do some phase rotation testing and show that on camera because we really need to be getting off. Commissioning. I'm not going to do loads of commissioning testing on here because obviously it's going to be on Chauvin's channel. But Linda is going to do a quick ZS and then we'll have a quick play with phase rotation. Would you like to press the test button, Linda, at your leisure? We have 242 volts there.
I just say I'm so tired I can barely think.
I know, it's been a long day, hasn't it? Go on, hit the test button, go. And the CA6117 says that it's 0.30 ohms with a fault current of 769 amps. So if we were to join line to earth in here, then potentially up to 769 amps would flow. Of course it wouldn't because we have our protective devices in there. That one's off at the moment. But it goes to show that, you know, fault current could be quite high, can't it? Could be quite high. Let's do some phase rotation testing and then we're going to hang this one up here because the place is...
Are we about to kill each other?
Yeah, we're about to kill each other. The place needs to be locked up. And I need to get down the pub.
Right, phase rotation?
Phase rotation.
Okay.
Phase rotation, we want to make sure that the commando sockety thing back there, the TPN PE plug, is providing all 3 phases in the right order, i.e. L1, L2 and L3, brown, black and grey. And I've got 3 instruments to show doing that. I've got this rather marvellous little Kairitsu K8031F, which was, I think it was Steve at SFG Security. Thank you, Steve. He gave me a whole bunch of old stuff, some of which I've shown on the channel before. I think some of his MFT was shown on the Virtuanige video. But this is a mechanical phase rotation test and a rather wonderful one as well, I must admit. I'm surprised you didn't keep hold of that one, Steve. We've got brown, black and grey, brown, black and grey. So obviously I'm going to push these probes. I'll do it over here. Brown, black and grey, push them into there. And so long as I've got all 3 pushed in, if I push down the test button, we see that a light lights up for each one to show that it's okay, and mechanically the whizzer within here spins in a clockwise direction, which means good. Yep. If I were to swap 2 of the phases over, so it was grey, brown and black, for example, or grey, black and brown rather, if I press it now, you can see it's going backwards, which is bad by definition. But that's a mechanical 3-phase tester. Let's lose that and go electrical. I bought this a few years ago. It's a little TIS415. Surprisingly, they don't give you any probes with it, only clips. So I've had to nick my mega probes, which is going to mess up your feng shui, isn't it?
That's right.
So we're going black, blue, green for brown, black, grey.
Get on with it.
Try and keep up. So once again, I'm going to shove them in order. And this does exactly the same thing as the Kairitsu did. If I can get those probes, the fucking GS38 ends. Again, we've got a light that lights up to say that the voltage is okay per phase, and if I push this in, it's showing us that the phase rotation is correct. We are going clockwise. Again, if I were to reverse the phases as though they were being delivered wrong, or if we'd wired it up wrong, what we should see now is an anti-clockwise light, which is not what we want.
Perfect.
2 down, 1 to go. Actual electrical content, as Jamie Blayton would say. Most or many modern MFTs also incorporate phase rotation today, and the CA6117 is no exception. Again, different colour leads to the brown, black and grey, so we're going to be using red, blue and green in that order. What I'll do is I'll put it on the floor, and if you want to film the tester, Linda, I'm just going to shove the connectors in. So there goes my brown, and you can see it's still saying there goes my black, and now it's saying, oh, I've detected that there's a 423 volt difference between those two. And if I put on my grey, we can see now it shows the voltage between each phase, and again gives us a positive clockwise phase rotation. Right. And just to show what happens if I again reverse the phase rotation on that instrument, it shows anti-clockwise as being bad. We do not want that.
Get on with it.
That's it.
Oh, fantastic. We can go.
We haven't actually shoved anything into the shaver socket yet. Would you like to just take that just for a moment, Linda? Just for a moment. Yes, it's still recording. Because I'm just going to make sure that this works. And if you take a look at the screen there, line and neutral, it's actually recording quite a high voltage from the output of this transformer, 278 volts. Don't know how well you're seeing that on the screen. Let's have a look at what the 115 volt side shows, if I can get my probes shoved in there. It's quite difficult. 132, so yeah, at least the transformer's doing something.
Right.
Right, now, yeah, I can't keep making Linda bend over. She keeps making a horrible, unhealthy noise when she does so. The fault switches are there. I'm not going to show them at the moment. If you want to see more, you need to tune in to these guys on this channel, where I will be putting that 6117 through its paces. Yeah, I'm going to wear a t-shirt and everything. We're going to do it topless. I don't think anybody needs to see that. Anyway.
It's been sweaty.
Have you enjoyed your time?
It's been fantastic. It's just
weird, isn't she?
Had enough.
We have. It's been a very long day.
And very sweaty. Sun's baking down.
Let's get the cover on and get the hell off to the pub. Bye-bye. Excuse the unusual location. Usual weekend trawling around the DIY stores. New Wix is open in Leamington. That's cock on, isn't it? Seeing as home base might be closing, but they're shite anyway. Right, what am I after? Coffee shout out. Aaron Nobbs, a virgin. Welcome, Aaron. See you all the time, of course, in the ESK group chat. He says, nice to see you at Alex, and it was a shame that I bailed on the curry night. Yes, I'm sorry about that. I'm not very good in social situations. I can drink a lot, but when there's lots of people around, I tend to drink very hard, very fast, and then get wiped out. So maybe I shouldn't do with the curry nights. Anyway, welcome to the channel, Aaron Nobbs. Which trim to buy? Damo would know. Damo! The whore that is Damien, who says, Damo, what a guy indeed. I never realised, Damo, that you were the Damien, making your contributions to the channel, but thank you once again. Black plastic corner trim, that's what I need. Jay Sargent, the whore. Nice kit, Dave. He says, I wonder what MFT the septics use. I imagine the Shermans probably use a fluke, if anything. But I don't know. Any hams out there, let us know what MFTs you actually use over on that side of the pond. Promotion to whore for MJD. Thank you, MJD. I didn't realise that was you, Malcolm, of MJD, but now I know. And thanks for the heads up regarding the Klein stuff. Cheers, mate. The whore that is Brad Greytrix, who I believe liked the AFDD EMI video. I'm a sucker for work lights. Cities are selling these. I think they're about £3 more expensive. Mr. Humbug, of course, as always, and no message. What's the difference, Mr. Humbug, between CT1 and BT1? I don't know. Is it different to OB1? It's all too confusing, this stuff. Anyone super wanks to read out? Anonymous Mark Eastwood, generous as always, for an orange super wanking whore, as always. Right, I'm going to check out of this one. Catch you on the next one, which will probably be just as boring as this one was. Sorry. Kind of running out of things to talk about on this channel now. Oh well, never mind. See ya.